In this video, I'm going to cover how to set up your TradingView charting software to be able to analyze and trade like a pro. I'm also going to cover some of the little hidden features that I've found over the years that really helped me speed up my charting workflow. Okay, I've been a full-time trader and investor for almost 7 years, so I've had a lot of screen time. In the layout, settings, indicators, and tools that I'm going to show you are extremely helpful for accurately hitting short-term crypto trades with my team to generate consistent profits, but it also allows me to get a grasp of what's going on investing-wise to make smarter decisions. Okay, I'll also be putting chapters below the video, so if you're looking for something specific, you can skip forward to it, but if you have some time, watch the whole thing. I think it can be really... All right, so if you don't already have TradingView, they basically monopolize the market because their charting software is basically just the best. And that's the software that we're going to be using today. So if you don't already have TradingView, you can go to tradingview.com desktop. You can go Windows, Mac, or they even have Linux if you are running on Linux. All right, so I have my current charting layout right here, but I'm just gonna go ahead and open up a new chart layout so that we can basically just start from scratch. And I'm gonna show you exactly how I set it up, and we'll just start with that. So first thing that I'm going to look at is the price display. So this is how you want to interpret the data on the charts. So we have a few options up here. This box is going to allow us to switch between the display. So we have these types of bars. What I normally use and what most people use are just regular candlesticks, which basically on green candles are going to show you the open, the close, the high, and then the low. And if they're red, this is the open, the close, the high, and then the low right here. And that's basically how you read candlesticks. But if you want to modify the color of your candles or really anything on your chart, you're just going to right click anywhere on the chart and hit settings. And this is going to open up all of your different details for your chart. Okay, so right here, this is going to show you the up candles and then the down candles. So if you want the body to be white, you want the borders to be white and the wicks to be white, and then you want your down candles to be orange, kind of what I have as my setup. And then on the inside, the body, I actually turn the opacity down so that we can see through the candles. And you're gonna get something that looks a lot like this. And this is just a visual preference, but that's how you can set that up to be custom. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is turn down the opacity on the grid marks right here. These grid marks can be helpful to establish sort of a bearing on the price levels, but I think it can be distracting if you're trying to look for pattern recognition, which is a lot of times what you're doing when you're trading. So we're right click once again, go down here. Okay, then we're gonna go to appearance. Then we're gonna click these boxes right here and drag this down to about 1%. Okay, that way I can really faintly see it, so I still have a bearing, but now when I look at the price action, okay, I can see, okay, without even looking way over here, I can tell that this is a major level, this is a major level, and so on. But it's not, once again, getting distracting to the overall pattern here. Okay, if we want to change our background, we go back over here, we can go to appearance, and then we can even set up a gradient. So basically you can set a fade from one color to the other. So if I wanted to have a green fade into, you know, a darker color, you could have it set up like that. I don't really use gradients. If anything, I'll do a really slight one, but I just think keeping it simple is really, really good. You can either have a white or black background. Okay, dark color theme just needs to be checked. If you want a white background or if you just want the darker one, you can do that. All right, so it's pretty simple, guys. You can customize that however you want, but I'm gonna go ahead now and move over to indicators. So how to position them, and then getting into sort of which indicators we're using to get a general grasp of price action that's going on our charts. Okay, so they give you automatically a volume indicator, which is showing you how many buys and sells are going on at a given period of time. What we have to do is just click on that, and then it's gonna pop up a menu up here where you can hit this wheel and you can customize all the colors once again, and then really add anything you want. You can have an EMA on there, and that's really how you're going to be controlling all of the indicators. But let's say we want to move the position on this, because I don't really like to have the volume on my chart. I think it can be a little bit distracting if the candles are here and the volume's getting in the way, which I don't want. So what we can do is we can click on this once again, hit these three dots, and then we can move either the visual order or we can move it up or down. So above into a new pane or below into a new pane. I'm gonna go ahead and hit new pane below, and that's going to put this into its own separate little area so that I have my chart blocked off, and then I also have my volume indicator blocked off. And this is gonna be really helpful because let's say, for example, we wanna go ahead and add another indicator. So let's say we add a MACD and an RSI. If we have all of our indicators stacking up, which we wanna see to be able to analyze the chart, if you have them blocked down below, we can actually stack up all of our indicators, and if we just double click the chart, they all go away. So when we're just drawing out and doing our thing, we can have a full chart, and if we want to pop up the indicators to see, okay, this is happening here, this is happening here, we can do that and then just click them away. And that's why I like to group them down into sections, but you can really position them however you want. All right, we're gonna go a little bit into more indicators later, but what I wanna do now is go into the watch list section so that we can talk about organizing all of the individual pairs, whether you're trading stocks, cryptocurrency. This is directed towards cryptocurrency, but whatever pairs you are watching, you can go ahead and hit this tab open right here, and then you can basically have all of your menus here. So if you want to add a symbol, you can hit this plus, then you can go ahead and type in the respective currency or thing that you're trading. All right, over here is really where the most important thing is for organization. So you can go ahead and create a new list, and let's say call it watch list. Okay, that's going to bring us to a new watch list. That way we can click between separate watch lists. So what I do is I like to have one watch list called crypto main. This is going to have all of the trading pairs that I'm looking at on a daily basis that I can sort of flip through when I'm trying to find trades. I can just hit here, I can click the space bar, and I can just flip through all of these here, and I have them all in one spot. The reason I do this is because I can just find different trades to take, but also because not every coin is listed on every exchange, so I like to find the ones that match up with the exchange that we use. Speaking of which, if you guys are looking for an active trading exchange, okay, we just partnered up with Bybit. They're by far the best exchange for active trading crypto. Okay, they have tons of altcoin pairs. You can trade right on the screen. They give you really, really good leverage options. And we're also doing a permanent giveaway where we take 30% of the trading volume through the referral link and we distribute it out to our community members. If you're interested in that, click the link below. You can sign up for that and then just stay up to date with the updates and the giveaways on the Discord, which is also linked in the description. But that's how I set up my first watch list over here. So this is my main one. Then I have my crypto investments over here, which then basically you can add whatever watch list you want if you want them to have a specific name. So just for the video, I put crypto investments. So let's say you just want to watch the ones that you're investing in. You have your crypto main, and then you can have like an active trading watch list or whatever, and that's going to keep them nice and organized for you. What I do is I have different flags for individual watch lists. Okay, so what I do is the red list is going to be all of the stocks that I'm watching, and I can section them off into little groups, which I'll show you how to do in a second. But red is going to be stocks, blue is crypto, and the way you add different flags to the pairs that you're watching, which will automatically section them off into these groups, is by hitting the plus mark over here. And then let's say I want to watch, Bitcoin on Binance here, I can regular click on this little flag and I'll have the option to put a different colored flag under. So if I want to have this be in pink, now if I go into here, this is going to add a pink list and it's going to automatically have Bitcoin over here. So if you just sort of learn which is which for yourself, that can be a really quick way of just looking at something and then adding it over to the list. And that's exactly what I do. So the blue list is all of the market analysis that I want to do on the major pairs that I'm watching. And then I have macro swings where there's sort of longer term swing trades that I'm taking on individual pairs, but that's how I keep sort of my investments and overall market things here. And then I have over here all of the active trades that I have set up. So now I'm going to get into how to section off your lists. So let's say you just have a big massive list, like for example, if we go over here and we want to break them into little groups, like you can see right here on my trading, I have live trades, trade setups, winners, and then losers. And I update this every week for myself so that I can keep the status. All you have to do is right click, hit add section, and then you can just double click on this, hit enter, and now you have the specific folder that you want those individual pairs to be in. All right, and that's just going to help you really break up your list and keep things organized. So you can see I did this over with stocks. I have my indexes, I have tech stocks, consumer retail, banks, airlines, and then biotech all broken up so that I can quickly sort of look at things and just group them together. It makes it a bit more organized. All right, so the next thing that I want to get into is having multiple charts on your display. Okay, because it's nice to have one chart here, but what if you want to watch a bunch of pairs or you want to have different time frames all linked to one chart? That's what I'm going to go over now. So that's going to be what this little box up here is, where basically you click on it and it gives you a bunch of options. You can have 2 displays, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 8. In order to upgrade to multiple layouts, you need to pay for the increased version of TradingView. It's worth it. If you're doing any sort of trading or investing, just pay the money because it's well worth your analysis and it just takes it to the next level. But let's say, for example, I want to have, 2 panes on the top and 1 on the bottom where we're all tracking the same charts or even different charts. So now we can do a few separate things. So normally when you add a new setup like this, it's going to populate a random chart. It's not going to be the same layout. So what I recommend for you to do is once you set everything up, like we set up our main chart with the colors and everything that we like, go down to settings over here and then click on this template button and hit save as. Okay, and then you can just name the chart setup however you want. That way, if TradingView populates a standard, stock chart, you can easily flip and keep it the same style and have all of your indicators already built into the chart. And you can build like investing indicators or investing charts with investing indicators or trading charts with trading indicators and just easily flip between them. Just literally 2 buttons, and then just click on whatever chart setup you want and it will populate that. So that's a really quick way to just make sure you flip between them. Now, if you want all of these charts to be displaying one symbol, so you can see right here, DREP is displayed on all of these charts. Go ahead and click on this button up here, and then you can have this sync in layout button. So if you want to sync symbols, you can go ahead and click that. If you want to sync where your cursor is going on all of the different charts, you can have them in here. If you want to have all the time intervals synced together, you can go ahead and click this. That way it will show us all of the same time frequencies. So if we switch between a 30, okay, now we're going to see a 30 on all of here, and it's just basically going to update every single chart simultaneously. What I like to do if I'm ever doing this is take off interval. That way when I can highlight, let's say this box and go to a 15-minute chart, I'm going to keep my multi-time frame charts, which helps us for doing something called multi-time frame analysis, which is allowing us to see perspective on different charts. All right, so now I want to move over into tools, and then we're going to go to indicators, I promise. But basically, these tools are sort of the standard tools that everyone should at least know how to use. And I'll just give you a few tips on how to keep them organized and what I do to be able to access them quickly. So I'm going to switch back to my main chart here. Okay, so the first tool that I think everyone should know how to use is a simple trend line. So if you want to go into that, you can click over here into this menu and you'll have access to all of your sort of trend/selection tools in here. And if you want to have quick access to them, instead of scrolling over here and flipping into the bank and trying to find them, if you add a star, okay, it's going to populate it down in this little menu right here, which you can just move around your screen and you always have access to those indicators. And that's really cool. Okay, but the first thing that we should know how to use are trend lines. Basically, if you just have your trend line here and you click, let go, and then click again, it's going to leave you and drop a trend line where you can now move it around to try to find certain levels that are important on your chart. And this is like the fundamental thing that we use when we're trading, because we're able to establish and see support and resistance levels, which allows us to anticipate changes in direction, which allows us to take the trades that we're taking. All right, these trend lines are basically what allowed me to be able to get in exactly at the top of Ethereum and short it all the way down. And just in this previous week, I'm actually up $3,700 trading these systems. And just to sort of showcase like the importance of knowing how to use these tools, trend lines are a really critical portion of being able to figure out when reversals are going to happen. All right, so I basically lumped together trend lines along with our horizontal lines and our vertical lines. Okay, so these are basically just going to allow us to establish a nice flat level that just goes across the whole chart that we can click and drag around. This is going to allow us to see support and resistance levels throughout the chart, just have a straight line across. If you want to ever edit anything like this, you just right click, hit settings, and you can do color, you can add text, and it's going to have different things. And once again, if you want to have presets like this, you can also go to settings, have template, and then add as a template, and you'll always be able to have a certain text and color set. If you also want to set an alert that's going to go either to your phone, email, or just in-app notifications, okay, you can click on this little button right here. This is going to take you to setting up an alert. Okay, you can send an email, you can add your phone number and it can go right to your phone, and you can add your message right here as well. Hit create, and now you have an active alert along this trend line that's signified by this little icon right here. All right, so we have horizontal and vertical lines. Vertical lines are good for just sort of spacing out time frames, everything like that. Okay, next is a tool called Fibonacci. And what I do with my toolbar here is basically line up the indicators in order of which I use them on my trade. So I'm not constantly fishing back and forth and trying to look. I can just see which color is blue and what I need to do next. So if I were to set up a trade like here, where I have my clone line up to a top level, okay, this is just a rough example. I'm not actually setting something up. And then I want to look at a critical level. I can put that into there. Then I can use my Fibonacci and I can click from this low of the trend up to the high and see important levels. Okay, I'm not going to get too deep into what a Fibonacci is, but basically it shows you important levels that the price can move and then retrace to, which can help you trade if you back test and understand what each level means and the statistical probability of certain things happening at certain levels. And that's sort of the premise of our system, but I'm not going to get too far into it. All right, and once again, you can see I have my regular fib here. If we want to check this and have level shown and prices, we can check those boxes, and it's going to bring up prices and 61.8, 50, 38.2, 23.6, 0 level, 78.6, and then the 1 level. And with my Fibonacci's, considering I use different Fibonacci's depending on the system I'm trading. I can go into this wheel right here, click down onto the templates. I either have a regular stock Fibonacci, I have an ITCH2 Fibonacci, which is actually going to add different projection values down here. I can easily flip between fibs and always have access to the one I need. And it's just really, really important and useful to be able to have different variations of things that you can add so that you can quickly switch between them. Okay, next is going to be a Fibonacci projection. This is going hand in hand with Fibonacci, but basically it allows us to take multiples of the golden ratio off of a certain distance and project them up. So if I want to consider this move off of the low here up to a high, our factor of 1, I can click, drag, click here, and then drag back down. This is now our 1 value, and this is going to give us projection values. So, 1.618 multiples here, and then so on and so forth up here. And this can be really helpful for confluence plays where we're looking for supplemental evidence to our trade thesis. We can use these levels because they tie into sort of Elliott wave theory, which I'm not going to necessarily get into either. But next is going to be our Elliott wave counter. You should learn wave structure. It's very helpful for just general investing and for trading, but really big for investing actually. But usually trends move in a 5-wave pattern. So we'll have our initial impulse, have a corrective wave down to 2, biggest impulse up to 3, corrective wave back down to 4, and then the top of 5 where we see a pullback. And this has also been really helpful for us to be able to use our system. We use all of these things sort of in conjunction, but that's a really good indicator to have as well. And that can be found over in this menu, as well as, all your other patterns that you're used to seeing. So like a triangle pattern or a head and shoulders pattern. Okay, you can have all of these indicators set up and you can customize them. Okay, over here I have short position and long position indicators, which can be found over in this section. Okay, if we click on this and we click on that point right here, now we have our stop loss and our profit target, which we can click down into these ranges. It can allow us to see where we're looking to enter trades and where we're going to be exiting for profit or getting out for a full loss. And having this tool set up is really, really good for quantifying risk, which is critical for anyone that's trading. You should have all of these. And I have a long one set up too. So you have a long one and then a short one. All right, sometimes I use this line to sort of indicate where I think things are going to go. And then you just hit escape when you want to get out of it, and it can be a nice little arrow drawing. Another cool tool that I don't use often, but I think is pretty cool, it's called Ghost Feed. So I can basically click from this point to here, and then I can basically just draw my own fake sort of candles so that I can visualize what I think is going to happen. And it's just sort of a nice visual tool for you to either practice your pattern recognition or anticipate where you think things are going to go, or if you're trying to showcase something, it can be really helpful as well. All right, if you want to see date and price range, okay, that's why I have this box over here. That way I can click from an area and sort of move over to a certain duration that's going to show me how many bars, how many days, the volume over that period of time, and then the percent move from the start to the finish. And that can sort of just help you figure out which pairs are stronger relative to others, or how big of a move or small of a move has been made over a period of time. I think that's really, really cool. All right, also some tools in here are pretty cool that I didn't really talk about. So this brush tool to draw, I should probably add this to my toolbar over here, but you can click this brush tool and just sort of click, and you can have a little drawing tool, which takes a little getting used to. It can be really good if you're, like trying to show someone something or just highlight certain things. It's a nice little tool there. And then I also really like this ellipse tool, where basically you can draw a line and then just go like that, and it can show you certain areas that you want to highlight. All right, if you ever want to look at the chart without your drawings, you can hit this eyeball right here, and it's going to take away your drawings. Okay, if you ever don't want to accidentally move your indicators around, you can click this lock button, and no matter what you do, what you click, it's not going to move anything. All right, that's a nice little feature. And then if we want to see all of the indicators that we draw on our chart, so let me just draw like a crap ton of indicators here just to show you what I mean. Okay, now we have a bunch of stuff on our chart. If we click this little button right here, it's going to show us in order of which we've applied them, and it's going to allow us to either lock individual ones or take the visibility away. So we can, remove certain things. And like what I'll do for videos, if I'm showcasing something, I'll actually just put them in order of which I want to show them, and then I'll just take them off, and it'll allow me, instead of having to draw them in real time on camera, I can just draw them ahead of time and then just reveal them as I'm talking about them. And this can be cool if you're just looking to sort of remove some indicators that are overlapped and you're not trying to click on one, realize you clicked on the other, and then erase and go back. All right, if you want to paper trade, you can go into this trading panel right here, and then just go ahead and click their paper trading, hit connect. Okay, that's gonna pop up a paper trading account. It's gonna give you, I forget how much money to start with, but that's gonna be all of your trading history. Then you can go ahead and click this button right here. That's going to pop open an order book for you to be able to submit your orders. So I'm not gonna really go over order types right now, but if you wanted to do let's say a limit order or a market order, you can do that. You can click your take profit and stop loss. and then you can go ahead and buy, and you can move these values and adjust them. Paper trading should really be only used for execution and practicing actually inputting the trades and everything, but this can be kind of a good tool if you want. If you want to log out, you hit that button and now you're logged out. All right, so let's dive into the indicators that I use and just sort of a quick showcase of some of the best ones. All right, I'm going to switch back over to my chart layout. All right, so the first indicator that I'm using is volume, and we covered that a little bit in the beginning, but basically it's showing you the dollar amount value of the orders that are coming through per candle. And if there's more selling than buying over the period of the open and the close of the bar, it'll either be, red or green, or in this case, it's going to be blue if there's more buying, and orange if there was more selling over time. This can show us areas on the chart where there's a significant amount of actions being taken with a large amount of dollar value, which can indicate support and resistance primarily, and just market participation to sort of have an idea of the liquidity of the chart, which is really helpful for when you're trading. Okay, the next thing that I use is a moving average, convergent, divergent. If you want to look up any of these indicators, you can click this button up here, and then I have all of mine starred, but you can search, and there's actually a ton of indicators you can play around with. It's really fun. But moving average, convergent, divergent is a momentum indicator that has a simple moving average and an exponential moving average overlapped. And just quickly, what a simple moving average versus an exponential moving average is a simple moving average is totaling up all of the average prices over a certain period of time and then dividing them evenly by the sample size. Okay, so that's going to give you a nice gradual flowy line that's sort of tracking whatever the price does. Okay, what an exponential moving average is doing is it's taking price action over that same period of time, but it's weighing the most recent price action exponentially, so that basically it's going to be a much more responsive indicator. So basically, once we see the more responsive indicator, which is the blue line, crossing through the simple moving average, it means that the short-term momentum is moving through the current momentum, which can show you significant shifts of the momentum of the market. And we can see sort of ranges where we make crosses, price is significantly impacted by that. So it's a nice little visual representation of changes in momentum, and that's why I use this. And then the lower indicator that I use right here is called an RSI, or a relative strength index. Okay, this is an indicator that takes the average trading range of whatever you're looking at, and it gives you a period over 70 or under 30 is the standard set deviation for these lines. So this is the normal level in here, and then anything above this line is considered overvalued, and anything underneath this line is undervalued or underbought. And what we use this for is if we're looking to get into a trade, okay, if the MACD is lining up, if the volume looks good, if all the technical analysis looks good, and then at the end as well, we see that this is either underbought or overbought. This is just sort of an extra layer of conviction behind the trade that can help us sort of identify where we are relatively on the short-term price action. Okay, all of these indicators are reactive indicators, meaning that whatever the price ends up doing, the indicator is going to reflect that. So you can't really use this in an anticipatory way because it's going to sort of steer you in weird directions. Okay, anything like a trend line, a Fibonacci, or anything of that nature is not really a reactive indicator. Okay, that's going to be something you set, and then the price action ends up moving and you use it, for forward reference. But just if you want to have a concept of what the market's doing and be able to look at something that's going to give you a nice, even, simple look at the market, I recommend these indicators. And if you want to have EMAs on your screen, I just have a really simple one with a 20-day, 50-day, 100, and 200-day. Okay, and then you can mute individual ones that you want. So right now I only currently have the 100 whenever I want to look at it, but you can set that up on your screen and use that right on the chart as well. Okay, then I also use to figure out important volume levels, something called a VPVR. And this is going to show us how much buying and selling is actually going on in the respective areas. And we can just really, it's sort of hard to see right now, but I can see important levels where there's been the most buy or sell volume on the chart, and that can show us really, really critical levels for our chart. So you can see right here, even though Bitcoin did break this level, okay, we can see this yellow lines coming off of this candle because this was the candle that had the most buying and selling volume along this whole chart, which is a really, really pivotal level. And we see once we broke that, we saw a major move to the downside on Bitcoin. So I also use that indicator on the side, just very faintly, mostly for day trading, but can really just show you sort of the important volume levels as well. And then this one last feature that I want to talk about is for really practicing your trading and just being able to basically manage trades in real time and practice it really happening in front of you. So let's take this Ethereum trade for an example real quick. All right, if I wanted to basically make it so that the price action was still here and this move hasn't happened yet, I can click on this button right here, which is the bar replay, and wherever whenever I click my line, it's going to remove the price action and then put the chart as if it's right there. And then I can adjust my speed on the candles, hit play, and it's going to print the candles moving forward so that I can say, okay, I entered my trade there and I got out here. How do I manage my trade? And how would it look had the price action have not happened? And how would I actually in real time take this trade and manage this trade? And this can be really, really helpful instead of waiting for setups to happen and paper trading them. This is an ocean of tools and everything. Just play around with it and have fun. If you're interested in learning all of these topics and really diving into trading, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We have a whole premium community where we offer training and have a Discord community. We also have trade signals, so we alert some of the trades that we're taking. All of that is below, and I'll put them in a card right here if you want to take your trading a little bit more seriously, move into a community. Okay, we're going to be shifting a lot of our focus away from, altcoins and investing and more into regular trading. Like I said, if this brought value to you, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you like our content. And until next time, guys, I will see you all in the next video.